switch it around here. Okay, so I'm just texting. I'll let you guys go a couple feet ahead.
See how this goes.
Excuse me? So right now we require everybody, all members, all staff, and guests to wear a mask.
I'm a paid member. I'm not to change in the contract I make with Costco.
No, this is a change. This is a bylaw of Edmonton.
No, it's not a bylaw of
It is
Edmonton.
a bylaw.
Okay. So the bylaw of Edmonton says there are exemptions. I don't have to show you this.
No, I have a face covering. We require you to wear a face covering. So I do have a mask for you as well.
Do you understand what the bylaw says? So are you telling me? You're telling me the bylaw says I have to wear a mask?
Costco's now requiring
No. You actually stated that it was the bylaw.
Edmonton has put a bylaw.
No. So
Edmonton has put a bylaw.
does the bylaw state I have to wear a mask?
Costco now states you have.
And that's not what you said.
This is
you
what
keep
I'm telling
changing your mind.
This is what I'm
Do you
telling you right
understand? I'm not
So
actually.
you can go around if you want.
So just basically not keeping two meters, so just stand back because you're actually that thing.
Sir, fair enough. Yes, no, I agree.
is a petri dish of bacteria that you're breathing at me. Could you stand back? Could you stand back?
I'm back.
No, you're not 2 meters away. You're not 2 meters.
Come on to the
Stand
door,
back.
please. Bring the buggy away from the door. Bring it over here. Bring the buggy over here, sir. Bring the buggy over here and we'll talk about it.
Can you go get a manager?
I am the manager.
You're a manager, and you don't even know what the bylaw is for the city.
I'm explaining to you that you will listen to what you have to do at
So
home.
you're saying I can't come in without a mask on?
Correct. I have a face
Okay.
shield.
Can you call the police? Can you call the bylaw, please?
I'm not calling the bylaw, please.
No. Can you call the bylaw? Because you're in breach of the city bylaw right now.
I'm letting you know what the rules and regulations
No.
are. Shop at Costco.
Actually, so you don't even know what your own policy is.
I do know what the policy is.
So the policy is I have to wear a mask.
Or a face shield. One or the other.
No, I don't have to wear a face shield.
I could come into Costco, you have to wear one or
No,
the
I
other.
can't wear a face shield, and I can't wear a mask.
Unfortunately, then we're not allowed. We're not going to
No,
allow
then,
you to
so
come
then
in.
you're in breach of
Then
contract.
we're not going to allow you to
No,
come in.
so
So
now
I can
you're
give
in
you
breach
the
of
other
contract.
options that you have.
No, so I can't. For example, you're going to say, oh, you can buy online. No, I can't, because you don't sell the same products online as you sell in here.
We have Instacart, which are people that will come in and do your shopping for you.
No, I need to be able to see what I'm shopping,
And-
and that's the whole purpose of it.
Well, we will allow
My
you to-
family have been members of this store for 45 years.
I'm not disputing any of that.
No, actually, well, I mean, first of all, you told me I have to wear a mask because of the city bylaw. Now you're saying I have to wear a mask because of Costco's. I mean, get your story straight, for God's sake. Is this more about the fact that, because, you know, up until this point, Costco has been very, very good about actually accommodating disabled people. And I am a disabled person. I don't carry this round for fun. I'm a retired police officer who was injured on duty, who actually has to use this. I have a lung injury caused by a ventilator. I actually have a frontal lobe brain injury that prevents me from wearing a mask. I suffer from visual migraines. I cannot wear a safety shield. What sort of safety shield? Is it an OHS certified safety shield? Is it a class 6
yes, it
safety
is.
shield?
It is.
It is a class 6. Class 6.
It's OHS. Sorry, I don't know all of them, but it is
Actually,
OHS.
it's not,
It was approved.
because
It was
I've,
approved.
no, because I've been on your website and it's what you're selling isn't it?
It's not what we're selling.
And it's
what we're gonna
also
provide
not
to you.
recommended. It's not recommended by AHS or the city bylaw. In fact, it is explicitly stated it cannot be used as a replacement. So what you're doing, this is really about marketing, isn't it? Because you sell them inside the store.
Not at all.
You're trying to get people to force them into
We're-
something that
we
you
are
sell.
working to protect our
Is this
staff and the
got
members.
something to do with the fact that your two main shareholders, who actually sold $21 billion of their stock to China? Is this because China's
Yes,
not running
this
the store?
is what it's all about.
Prior
This is
to
what-
this, you actually accommodated disabled people. You have not enforced these ridiculous rules that do not make anyone safe at all. You're not making anyone safe. In fact, actually, so there's a store that was a coffee shop down in Leduc that was shut down for a breach of the Provincial Health Act. A complete and utter breach of the Provincial Health Act, which was they were not sanitising the terminals between every single customer. You don't do that. 4 hours at a time. This is not about keeping customers safe. This is about selling bloody plastic masks and basically discriminating against disabled people. You are.
You are discriminating. The bylaw has exemptions explicitly for disabled people, and this guy qualifies as disabled in pretty much every way possible.
So what we're saying is that we will provide a face shield.
He can't wear a face shield.
And why is that?
Is that any of your business?
Personally, I don't have to tell you, but I will tell you.
Yeah.
So I'm a retired police officer. I was injured on duty. I also suffered a major brain trauma. I suffered from seizures and visual migraines. I cannot put anything here and in front of my face that will trigger a seizure. You have done no studies whatsoever on face shields. In fact, Alberta Health and the city bylaw states you cannot wear a face shield because it doesn't do what the mask is doing. So this face shield is not about health. It's about you marketing the product that you sell in the store. This is bullshit. This has got nothing to do with that. You are now in breach of contract. I am a Costco member. You're in breach of the Health and Safety Act. You're in breach of the city bylaw, and you're in breach of the Provincial Health Act. Are you going to refuse me access to the store? Why?
Because you're not complying with our exact policy.
You're denying him his human rights.
Yeah, no. So you're discriminating against the disabled person now.
I'm not getting into this.
You're discriminating against the disabled person. Would you stop me coming in if I was in a wheelchair?
There's other options for you. There's
No, there
Costco
isn't.
grocery. There's
No, there isn't.
Instacart.
No, there isn't.
I'm sorry,
Because
sir.
I can't actually see the products.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're not permitted in the building unless you choose to either wear a face mask or
So-
face shield.
so-
I have offered you.
No, you haven't offered me.
Yes, I
so
have.
Costco.ca doesn't sell the same products
Yes,
and
they
doesn't
do.
sell. It doesn't sell them at the same prices. My family's been a member of Costco for 45 years. Don't try and tell me that you sell the exact same products for the exact same price. You don't even sell the same products for the same price between towns in Costco, let alone online. So it is not an equivalent. I also live on an acreage. I cannot return the product online. I have to bring it back to the store. It is not an equivalent. Don't try and play games that online is the equivalent. It is not. You cannot do that. This is a breach of Alberta human rights. This is a breach of the Provincial Health Act. You should be shut down after 40. And this, it's funny that prior to this, I told everybody this was the best company that had handled this pandemic. Because at the beginning of this, when I came here as a disabled person, when people were queuing up outside, you gave me priority entry so I didn't have to stand outside. You have never forced me to wear a device that will actually endanger my safety. And now suddenly, with no notice whatsoever, just after your two primary shareholders moved all their assets to China, you've suddenly changed your policy. Is that what this is really about? Is that what this is really about?
No, not at all.
Are you sure that's not really about? Oh, so you're actually running the company now, are you? You're making those financial decisions.
Have a good day.
So you're just again. So your name is Dave,
My name is Dave.
and your
That's
name is
correct.
Ken.
Have a
And
good
so you do understand under the Alberta Human Rights Act, you're personally liable for breaches
Ken, we don't
of
need
that.
to, we've explained, we don't need to get into it.
So Costco has no respect for the rights of the disabled. That's pretty sad, man. That's really sad.
It's a disgrace. It's all about selling. And please,
You ought to be ashamed of
step
yourselves.
back away from people with that petri dish on your face. You are a danger to the public.
$165 people watching that live.
Are we still live?
So Dave,
That was a disgrace.
are you? I guess Costco doesn't feel that you're a human.
No. Is it 311 enforces the bylaw?
Yeah, Andrew Knack says 311 wants to hear about people who businesses that don't enforce the bylaw. Something tells me though Andrew Knack doesn't really care, but
Well, let's see.
he said it should be forwarded to the COVID task force.
So yeah, these face shields specifically in the bylaws, are stated as not an option as a replacement for a mask. So this is not about people's health. This is about the fact that they sell them in 10 packs in there for 30 bucks a pop or 29.
Well, they were going to give you a free one, but like you say, with
Well,
your
is it
brain
free
injury.
use? Speaking of brain injuries, Lena Barr's back in hospital again.
Oh,
She was rushed into emergency last night.
oh, that's horrible.
Imagine what she would be doing with somebody like Costco.
Yeah, Walmart caused her injury by requiring a mask, and I don't think she's going to be too keen about putting on a face shield either.
You also might want to consider what the poor lady who spoke to me at Austin Council about the mask extension would feel, how she would feel. She's actually a victim of rape.
Yeah.
And how she would feel trying to get into Costco right now.
Yeah. Oh, or being even just in Costco with all these masked men everywhere,
What I
looking
couldn't
all
believe is,
threatening.
First of all, he blamed the city.
Yeah.
He blamed the city because...
He blamed the city when it's not part of the bylaw.
And didn't even give me an option for the face shield initially. He stated explicitly, I have to wear a mask.
Oh, and they're not social distancing in the slightest.
No?
They're not wiping carts anymore. They claim they care about your safety. They're not wiping cart handles. They're not cleaning their pin pads. Yet you gotta put a diaper on your face.
The face shields need to be a class 6 device, but they're not actually designed for anything. HS says that you can't use a face shield in absence unless the face shield actually comes down and covers the face, nose and chin. Well, those face shields that they're selling in there don't. Also, they're made of materials that don't meet any safety standards. If something flew up and one of those things shattered on your face, they're actually hazardous if you fell over with one of them. Also, something that a lot of people don't understand is that when you have something in front of your face, and this is my problem, is it causes your eye to constantly focus backwards and forwards. It's why you don't just put glasses on, you go see an optician, so that they can actually be distanced at the right distance and made of optical glass. So when you do that and you put something a couple of inches in front of your face, it causes your eyes to continuously focus backwards and forwards. It causes glare, and that for me triggers a visual migraine, which makes it actually more dangerous to me than the mask is. And people don't understand this. I mean, Costco, the best company that has handled this so well up to now, suddenly this week, with no notice whatsoever to any of their members, changed the terms of contract that specifically targeted disabled people. Specifically targeted disabled people, as you've just seen. And the way I was treated, I mean, if this manager really thought that this was such a dangerous virus and everything else, what was he standing a foot away from me with that petri dish on his face, breathing out a viral load?
Well, frankly,
if I actually come down with COVID right now, I'll guarantee you, he will have been the cause of it.
well, there would have been a lot less moist speaking in a lower traffic area had you just been let in to do your damn shopping.
Yep.
I mean, now they've created an altercation right by the door where everybody is forced to walk through very close to each other. It's like this is completely counterproductive. It's nothing but virtue signaling. There's no basis in fact. They're denying you your human rights guaranteed to you under the law in this province.
And I wasn't going to come here today, but this is, I could have sent Karen in to do some shopping for me, but this is bigger than just me. This is about disabled people and ignorance, just plain ignorance. And is it the influence of China? I've got to ask that question. Like, how come? Why did Vanguard and BlackRock suddenly move all their assets to mainland China in the last month? Why did Vanguard move their main office from Hong Kong to mainland China? The two main stockholders in Costco in the last month did that, and then suddenly Costco, who've been the best to handle this pandemic and have never done anything but try and accommodate disabled people throughout this whole thing, have never been abusive, have been nothing but pleasant, and have done everything to accommodate me. Suddenly I have to put up with that. And okay, I'm a big boy. I've got on my big boy pants, and I can handle that. I'm a retired police officer. But what about that poor rape victim? Like the trauma that they would have to suffer. What about Lena Barr, who's currently in hospital because of her wearing a mask? What sort of mental damage is she doing? And don't tell me this is about safety, because AHS says these shields are not going to do anything for the lack of spread of the virus. And secondly, Costco, everything you touch in there, the library, you touch your book, they have to put it in quarantine for how many days? But Costco, you go through there and touch everything. Nobody wipes anything down. And even the high traffic areas that they're supposed to clean between each customer, according to the Provincial Health Act and according to the closure notices that AHS have provided, says it has to be done between. How many thousands of people go through every one of those terminals in every single Costco? And their policy online today states they only clean it every 4 hours. At the beginning of this, they used to clean them all the time. They used to clean the conveyor belts.
And we have more cases than ever before, and Costco's doing less than they have ever done during the course of the pandemic.
However, they're doing less to prevent the spread and more to sell these plastic shields that they've obviously been having trouble shifting. Maybe China's asking for them to pay up and shift some of these plastic shields as quickly.
Well, isn't it amazing how Jason Kenney and Dina Hinshaw are just able to get everybody else to do their bidding for them, right? They don't have to make it. Hardly anything is mandatory. It's all voluntary. But we're just going to let the cities mandate masks. We're just going to let Costco discriminate against the disabled on Jason Kenney's behalf.
Well, guess what?
I
wouldn't be surprised if the city does the same as Kenny now. Now he's got Costco doing his bidding, and every other store is going to do the same. They're all going to run and cascade down and do the bidding of their masters. The city doesn't even need a bylaw anymore because he's got the stores enforcing it and
right.
they're taking all the risk.
Yeah.
So this is all just a shell game. This is a pyramid scheme. This is a disgrace. And the people who have been hurt. And at the end of the day, since this started, when did cases go up? When we locked down. We had 8 deaths in Canada in the first 5 months this virus was circulating. In the next 5 months, with lockdowns, with isolations, with masks, with social distancing, the next 5 months we had 9,500 deaths attributed to COVID. Here we are again. We suddenly implement mandatory masks after all the cases were almost gone during the summer. Mandatory masks in August, and suddenly cases are going through the roof. Are we really doing it? I mean, I'm speaking to biochemists and biomolecular scientists who keep telling me that the only way this virus can really spread is if it has a medium to grow in. Well, guess what? You're walking around with petri dishes on your face. Nurses never used to wear a mask all day, one single mask. I wonder how long that guy's been wearing his mask.
Oh yeah, if you're wearing cloth masks, you should be going through 6, 12 of them a day.
You should actually be changing them between interactions between people, like nurses used to do.
Right.
Not stuffing them in your back pocket like Jason Kenney does.
Yeah.
Or forgetting them on your podium and walking back and breaking the Provincial Health Act like our good leader, Dina Hinshaw. I mean, these are the people we're listening to, and she can't even remember to pick her mask up. And Jason Kenney thinks it's a good idea to stuff it in his back pocket over and over. My God.
We might want to consider as well that this exemption, the exemption that still sort of exists, only applies to children under 2. What about the lady you interviewed last night with the autistic daughter?
Yeah, good luck.
How on earth?
Yeah, and no exemptions. That autistic girl is not going to tolerate being forced into a face shield or a mask without severe issues. I guess she's just not allowed to leave the house. That's what Costco wants. Disabled people should just sit at home and never leave the house. You just order everything online because that's how society looks out for you.
So, John Carpay, James, this is a human rights issue. This is a Charter of Rights issue. I'm not dead yet. Give me a call, because this needs to be dealt with. Disabled people in this province and in Canada should not be treated like this, should not be abused like this. Their health and safety should not be put at risk like this. Just all for the sake of the almighty buck. Costco, you were better than this, or you were for the last 45 years. You're not anymore.
Right now.
Awesome. He's listening live.
Yeah, no, yesterday's post.
Oh, that's since yesterday's post. Awesome. Oh, are you trying to go shopping? You're going into cancel.
But you
well,
can't go into cancel.
You're going to be.
You've got to wear a mask or a face shield to go into cancel.
I don't care. I'm going into cancel.
Oh, I guess we got another guy to.
I'm going into cancel because this is bullshit. Bunch of communists. Don't wear a mask. I'm here to cancel. That's a bunch of communists.
Oh, so you are allowed into the store to cancel without a mask. Nice social distancing.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Please leave the property.
Oh,
I
okay.
would like you to leave the property.
Okay.
You guys to leave the
Yeah, call the police on the disabled people. You guys are so classy. What a great world we live in. This is how we treat the disabled in the 21st century. Way to go, Costco. Way to go.
I was leaving, but if he's-
I think he's hyperventilating under there. Look at that. That mask is too tight, my friend.
I was leaving, but if he wants to call the police, I'm in an expert to do that in the first place.
Costco refuses to help those with disabilities. Again, this is the world we live in now. This is crazy. I guess he did.
He just walked past them and ignored them. Who was he?
Yeah, so for those of you watching at home, this is the new policies. All members, guests, and employees must wear face coverings. Doesn't matter if you're disabled or not. If you got an exemption, doesn't matter. Hey, the city wrote a bylaw. Costco doesn't have to obey the bylaw. You know, because Costco's bigger than the bylaw, I guess. They can do what they want. They just violate people's rights however they choose. You know, when I signed up for my membership, this certainly wasn't in the terms and conditions. They,
I'm wondering how people are going to, they offer pharmaceutical, hearing aid,
Right.
opticians. What happens to these people?
to their patients. Can their patients even come in and pick up their stuff?
We've had people online mention that their pharmaceutical products here are cheaper than everywhere else.
Right.
How do people manage that with disabilities that they're not being able to access those? I would suggest that the smaller independent pharmacies compete cost-wise with Costco.
Oh, and of course you can get your flu shot here. That's just awesome. There you go. Oh,
Oh yes,
let's see how he makes out. Oh, he's going for the sanitizer. Oh, he's got one. Oh, he's got... As if that does anything. Sticking your dirty shirt over your face. That's going to make a big difference. This is just nothing but virtue signaling all around us. Everybody's just willing to go along to get along. Not actually saving anybody. I mean, just the fact that he had to touch it to put it over his nose. His hands are contaminated now. You know, like... We are participating in the largest medical experiment in the history of the world. I wonder how many months it's going to take before we realize that this whole charade caused more problems medically than it ever solved. Well, our friend is getting served over at the service desk there, getting his refund. So they did allow him into the store with no shield, no mask, to get a refund. Interesting. know how much more of this people are expected to. I mean, it's only going to get worse from here if people keep tolerating this. It certainly isn't going to improve. The numbers are going to go through the roof. Every year, there's 1 billion people get the flu in this season. So Alberta is going to be seeing hundreds of thousands of COVID cases in the next couple of months, and that's just a fact. Nothing. We could all basically lock down and stay in our homes, and there's still going to be a couple 100,000 COVID cases in Alberta within the next month or two.
And this is the start, guys. So this is a huge chain of Costco. When this store puts in these mandates, every other store will feel that they're empowered to follow.
Right.
And then where does that lead?
Yeah.
Where
Disabled people will be locked in their houses. I mean, these are the people we're trying to protect, supposedly. And right on, brother. You got your money back?
Oh, yeah.
You get a full $126? Beautiful.
Well, I'm not supporting a communist country or a communist company. This is bullshit.
Oh, completely tyrannical.
My family fled. I'm from Pleural.
Right?
We fled, and my brothers and sisters still remember having to wait in line just to get bread.
Right.
Right? This is
We got a taste of that back in, what, March?
yeah.
This place was lined up around the building.
If you can, go out there and cancel the membership.
Yeah, please do.
Communist companies. They're all just crazy. You're welcome. Thank you.
And you are down to your 1 pack of toilet roll, guys. No, 1 pack.
Nope. So I guess we're waiting for the police now? Huh?
Want to film David talking to 311? I think he has somebody else who's actually doing so. It's warmer in here.
I'm just onto City Bylaw and the COVID task force. So I can't really leave now. Yeah, no, so somebody's just come over to me, asked me what I'm doing. Apparently they've called the police. I'm a retired police officer, so that'll be a fun conversation. Thank you. No, they can't. They have to offer an alternate service, and Costco has no ability to offer an alternate service. Thank you.
So for the viewers out there, as far as I understand, the police have been called. I don't know. The store manager was hyperventilating like crazy.
Sorry? It's a Costco in the West End.
You can sure tell when people get upset with these fabric masks on, the way they just suck the fabric right into their mouth.
I'm wondering,
Yeah. When,
215 south of Whitewood.
if they can get curbside hot dogs and fries.
no, of course not. Well, I mean, no, I don't think you could.
No, I don't think they service outside.
How do I actually deal with returning the product?
Right.
Because
Just return them to any warehouse.
How?
Yeah.
How do I get an eye exam? Are they going to send them outside?
Well, what if your glasses are waiting there to be picked up? What if you got a prescription waiting there to
They
get?
actually do eye exams here.
Right.
How do I get my eyes examined online?
How do you get your eyes examined through a face shield?
How
I'm assuming Costco have a plan for that.
does the pharmacy come out?
I guess you can take off your face shield when they're doing the eye exam, perhaps.
Or does the virus know that?
Right. Just like the virus knows when you're sitting down at a restaurant. The virus also knows when you're 6 feet apart. It also, as David Icke said, it's got a watch now. It's only active for 50 if you've been in close contact for 15 minutes.
311 doesn't know what to do. She had to go read the bylaw.
Yeah, you hear that, Andrew Knack? You told me to call 311 when people had issues. We called 311, and 311 doesn't even know where to patch the call. So thanks, Andrew Knack.
She actually said, let me just check the bylaw. I'm not sure what it says. It's 2 pages.
Has anybody read this bylaw? Anybody read this bylaw?
The 311 people who are answering calls specifically about the bylaw don't even know what the bylaw is. This is insane. I want to go home.
Well, and with the defunding the police movement, I imagine it'll probably be 4, 5, 6 hours before the EPS are able to take Costco's complaint from
Retired disabled police officer.
Yeah.
And somebody who's done a lot of consulting work for EPS. My colleagues.
With not that he needs it, a full doctor's exception.
I guess it would help your human rights complaint, though, if they did call the police on us. I mean, that's.
So, because now not only are they refusing me access to the store, they're now removing me from the store as a paid member with a contract with Costco. I haven't cancelled my membership. I'm a paid member with this organisation. My family has been members of Costco since it started out in Quebec for the last 45 years.
And you came here to shop today.
I want toilet paper before it all runs out.
You're only allowed one case, though. I mean, it's just rule after nonsensical rule in this new normal.
Well, what happened to them? Because up until this week, this wasn't the case with Costco. Costco were fine up until this week. Costco, I mean, did the virus change this week? Did the virus actually mutate this week? Did I miss a memo? Because, I mean, have they been endangering the lives of all the residents since March? Or actually since November when the virus was circulating? Have they not cared about anybody's health and safety? They're certainly doing less for safety and cleanliness
Oh,
in
yeah.
the last few months. I mean, their policy, Alberta Health Services. What was the name of that guy who shut down the food store?
Good, yourself? Good, yourself?
Good.
Awesome.
It's sad this used to be a Canadian company, and they were up to this point, they were the best company around. But I think what they're looking for.
Okay, I'll be back in a minute.
So this gentleman is the second person that's come in to cancel his membership today because of these new rules, Costco. We didn't actually intend to be standing here all day, doing this, but this is the second person in half an hour that's come in to cancel their membership due to this policy, Costco.
Well, I hope everybody that's watching will come here.
Could you just repeat that?
So, with the mask bylaw, I understand that you have an exemption, but with the business owner, they also have that option to refuse service or offer a mask for you to wear.
But I have an exemption. But I have an exemption. An actual, unlike most people who just say I'm exempt, I actually have a doctor's note that exempts me specifically. And you're saying that the city doesn't care?
No, I'm not.
Why did they put it?
saying
Why did they
that.
put
I
the
do
exemptions in there?
I do understand about that exemption.
Is Andrew Knack about?
But, so what I can do is send this over as a feedback to the bylaw officer, let them know that there is such this. So it's a feedback regarding the mask bylaw.
Yeah, so they're also in breach of the bylaw because they're allowing people to not wear a mask and wear a face shield instead. The bylaw says that a face shield is not an option. The only way you can not wear a mask is if you are exempt. So offering a face shield is a breach of the bylaw. So you need to send the bylaw officers down here.
Regarding the business I'm sending this as a feedback. It's just one moment.
I'm reporting an offence under the bylaw. Why are you not sending bylaw out? If I was reporting a parking infraction, you'd send them out.
So this is I'm hearing two things from you.
Yeah, no. So
One
there's.
would be the-
I'm concerned.
If I understand what you're saying. So if I may just let you know what I'm thinking here. So there are two things that I'm hearing from you. One would be the refusal of service.
Yeah.
And the other one was that employee that was one foot apart from you. Is that right?
He was less.
Was he wearing a mask?
He was wearing a mask, but I wasn't. If both people are not wearing a mask, you have to maintain social distancing. Actually, there are a lot of people in with masks that have got vents on them, which are not actually legal, which is a bit crazy. But more importantly, in the city guidance, it says that a shield is not allowed. You have to wear a mask, or not wear a mask if you're exempt. A face shield is not allowed, but Costco are actually letting people wear face shields that they hand out. So they're in breach of the bylaw. I mean, it's not about safety. I don't know what it is they're doing, because they used to be so good. But right now, I mean, if they want to play games with the bylaw and actually impact people, then why isn't the city coming down and enforcing the bylaw and saying no, face shields are not an option? You can't let people in with face shields. A follow-up.
About more information regarding because the information I have that the business owners can request service, but then because they're requesting service from a person that is exempted, that's why we're sending this over.
Okay. And I'm pretty sure this is. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go on. Sorry, I
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what that we can clarify from the bylaw in terms of what would be what that matter. So you have that rule, but then there's exception, and also there's that the facial, but that's part of the.
Would have been quicker if you let him get his toilet paper. Would have been a lot quicker if you let him get his toilet paper.
Sorry?
So the store manager's over there giving me the evil eye because we're disrupting, I guess. Well, he's called the police on us, so I think we're supposed to hang around anyway. But had David just been allowed to get his toilet paper like a normal human being, this manager's day would be going a lot better right now. Yeah. Well, they just denied service to a former police officer.
I just got bitched out in there by a guy. I'm not a mask person. I don't believe in this shit.
Right.
Some guy just starts yelling at me in the middle of Costco. They say you have to wear a mask.
Right. Oh, yeah, you're in violation already there.
It's like I got kicked out of Starbucks and they told him I'm exempt.
Right.
Right?
Well, this guy here, former police officer, he's had a head injury. He's been on a ventilator machine. He cannot tolerate a face mask. And the visor would cause him migraine issues and could potentially trigger a seizure, and they won't let him in. And we've seen 2 people come in already to cancel their memberships, right? If this is how they're going to treat the disabled, then
It's insane.
this is crazy, man. Thank you. Have a great day. Wow, there's a lot more support down here than you would think there would be. I mean, that gentleman was, he donned the mask just so he could get his shopping done, but he said he got yelled at in the middle of the store because his mask was below his nose. I guess this is what customer service looks like nowadays.
This is nothing more than terror tactics by Costco.
Yeah, oh, this is. For 100 years, we've been trying to improve equality of access for disabled people. And Costco just takes that progress and flushes it down the toilet. I wonder how long it'll take the EPS to get here. I bet a 60-year-old disabled guy's a real high priority for the EPS. All righty. Did you get your full refund? Good for you, sir.
They're asking me if I was returned after all the restrictions or not. You guys want all my respect.
Yeah. I mean, unless maybe they issue an apology. An apology might help.
Like that. that gentleman there, he's been discriminated against.
Right?
And of course, he's not going to cut it for him.
He has a doctor's note in his pocket saying that that he can't wear it.
Yeah. So it's sad. We came to these times now. People are being discriminated
I'm
against.
interested to know your accents. Where are you from?
I'm from Lebanon.
So is this something you're seeing here that is more alarming to you coming from Lebanon?
Well, I came thinking it's a free country. It's more like a dictatorship now.
Yeah, Gaddafi's looking better and better every day that goes by. Well, that was Libya, not Lebanon.
It's Libya, yeah, but
I'm proud of you for coming in. Thank you.
yeah, I hope more people would wake up. Like the lady behind the face shield, the plexiglass, touching her face,
Right.
and handling stuff. And she refused to help me because I'm not wearing a mask.
And she's contaminating everything in her work area.
He's not wearing a mask. I'm not helping him.
Yeah. Well, it makes no sense. There's no scientific justification for this.
Today when I came in, I brought some returns. This was before this insanity took place today.
Yeah.
And I went to speak to the lady. I wasn't wearing a mask. I understand. It is my right. You don't have to explain why. And I returned it to the counter.
Yeah.
And the lady, the person behind the desk who was serving me, turned away from me. She didn't even speak to me.
Yeah, you're not even human.
I'm not human anymore. I'm
No.
treated like a playground. I'm sorry.
Disabled people have no rights in the new normal.
I put my purchases down on the counter. I was then accused that the product I was returning was actually not from Costco. I said, actually it is. I'm sorry, we bought it 2 weeks ago. She refused. She went onto the computer. She looked at my product. She still maintained the product was not from Costco.
Yeah.
It took me to call my husband, who wasn't feeling very well. He is disabled. He took time out to rest with his injuries yesterday. It took me to get him off the couch to go and find the receipt, which I've never had to do before in the store, for them to return the product. This is the service of this company right now.
So they treated you like vermin.
I was treated differently. I'm sorry because I wasn't wearing a mask. I have a problem with that.
Well, and the way the bylaw is worded, if you have a concern about being masked, you are exempt. You don't need a full-on medical exemption. You just have to be concerned. I mean, Chris Schaefer, our mask expert that comes down and protests with us, he says that masks are petri dishes that breed filth and bacteria. That every time you touch the mask, you should clean your hands, replace the mask. I mean, people wearing these cloth masks everywhere. I mean, I hope they brought 6 to 20 different masks in their car for all the different things they're going to do throughout the day, because you should only be wearing these things for 15 minutes tops.
I asked about rescinding our membership. I'm the second on the account, so I was told no, that my husband would have to come in to cancel our card. So here he is today. I think we've decided we're not going to cancel our card because we've put in human rights complaints about this. But I was told he would have to come in today to cancel the card. So here he is today, if we were choosing to, and they're not allowing him in to even do that.
Yeah, they've called the police on us already, so yeah, it's good fun.
Here's where we're at.
I'm curious to see how many other people come in to cancel today.
I'm so glad you came in. Thank you.
It's sad to see all these people not walking in.
Corporate, tyrannical companies have to be held to account.
Well, at least with all these people being masked, nobody can claim I'm violating their privacy.
Okay, so get back to work.
Thank you for doing what you did. I appreciate it.
I mean, jumping in front of me. Imagine if I'd ever seen that poor little picture. I mean, how terrified she was being, this aggressive male jumping and screaming through that bacteria-infected cesspool on his face. God knows when he must change, standing less than a foot away from him. I didn't believe this. When
Just wind him up, let him go, eh? Just wind him up and let him go.
I did not believe Costco, of all places, would behave like this. I thought this used to be an honest family Canadian business that
There's a reason the Brits are the
impeccably. And up till this time, they've treated me wonderfully as a disabled person, and most of the people I know, nobody's experienced this abuse. And I said, no, that can't be the case. And in fact, you know what, instead of you going to pick up,
Isn't it crazy though that out of the whole country it's down to
Costco's not
us?
going to do that. This must be a mistake. And no, I mean, what I just explained, and as I said, what I explained is horrific.
No.
And I'm a retired police officer. There's not a lot that's surprising.
Or crazy. Maybe a little both.
But to experience what I just experienced, what is society coming to?
I hope so. I got the big.
This business should be closed down. I mean, they're not even following the Provincial Health Act.
This stream will be seen probably over 20,000 times.
The terminals, the pay terminals, they don't clean. Every 4 hours they wipe things down. How many people go through that? I mean, if this was about safety, wouldn't they be cleaning stuff?
I can't believe that 2 people came in to cancel.
I mean, why is this if this is a requirement of the
Well, we know the Edmonton police like to take their time, especially when they're coming to pick up a 59-year-old disabled guy.
by not keeping the services clean and not keeping the pay terminals clean?
Now, if you want to come down to Costco, we're right here. Windermere Costco store, please come down. We would love to see you. Any people that are interested in protecting their rights and freedoms, please come and join us. David's here, Josh is here, I'm here. We would love to see you today. It's a little bit chilly, so you can stand in the foyer here and join us.
Apparently the COVID doesn't exist in the foyer.
No, we're good. So please come. We'd love to see you.
Sorry, I'm not shouting at them. I'm upset.
COVID is clearly such a huge risk because the police have taken how long now?
It's a high priority call. They I mean, yeah, that scooter Costco provided wouldn't get David too far quickly.
Chris Sikora from AHS would like to come and join us.
Yeah, Dr. Sikora, who couldn't even be bothered to show up to that City Hall meeting on extending the mask mandate.
We would
Yet,
love to see you here today.
yeah, that would be awesome.
I'm sure you could educate us on the issues here that we're obviously not understanding. So do join us. Anybody from AHS actually, if you can come and help us out, we'd really appreciate that.
Well, I'm just
I have multiple memberships here, not just one. I'm not just, like a $60 member. I've got the top business membership and I've had for over 2 decades with multiple cards. Costco makes a lot of money out of me. Or they did. And how many people are going to be traumatized by this arrogant, ignorant person and his inability to even understand? I'm not going to follow social distancing, but I'm going to tell you you have to wear a face shield, which doesn't do anything. Oh, and if you could pick up a pack of 10 while you're wandering around. God, this is... sorry, I'm not. Thank God I'm not still in the UK. Hopefully my colleagues will turn up soon and we can have a chat. And hopefully your bylaw officers come down here. And hopefully Andrew Knack follows up on this.
yeah, Andrew Knack, you're a disgrace, Andrew Knack.
Reference number, yeah?
Oh, somebody's bought their toilet paper.
They got their ration toilet paper. Welcome to Canuckistan. I'm gonna go have a little vape here. Well. So I think this is far from over here. I wasn't expecting to be here all that long, but since we've been here, we've seen 2 folks come in to cancel their membership. One of them came up to us as we were standing outside here and said, hey, I'm listening to the Angry Albertan right now on my headphones. So he was listening to our Beers and Tears call-in show last night, and he came in today to cancel his membership. I am not used to being this public. This is quite crazy. And to see 189 of you out there watching this just blows my mind. So anyway, but I mean, it doesn't, David is a walking medical miracle. That man has been nearly killed several times. Severe brain injuries. He's had, the surgeons have been inside his brain poking around. He's been ventilated on a ventilator machine. He doesn't even really have much. His lungs are if you were to x-ray his lungs today, his x-ray would come out looking exactly like these COVID x-rays that everybody was panicking about. That's David. I mean, if anybody has a legitimate exemption, David is at the top of that list. It really just doesn't get any more obvious. But hey, you know what? You don't even need to be as disabled as David. You don't even need to be disabled, because the way the bylaw is written, anyone can be exempt. So if wearing a mask makes you anxious or angry, or if it concerns you that it's going to negatively affect your health, because that's what that word is in the bylaw, it's an issue or concern. So if you believe that masking could negatively affect your health, and we've heard from Chris Schaefer, the fit tester. He owns a safety training company that fits people for masks. He makes sure that you're wearing the right size. He can do a medical screening on you to make sure that you still got enough oxygen getting into your system and you're not going to black out like Lena Barr did, who's in the hospital. You know. All right, something's happening here. I'm being called back in. What's he doing? Oh.
They've asked him for details of his...
I see one. Yeah. Ken. No. Ken. K-E-N. 1993. He said he was the manager. Not sure he is, because somebody else came over and said they were the manager as well. But Dan. He apparently told me the police. Which I was going to actually ask him to call the police, and he refused. And then suddenly somebody else came into the store to cancel the membership, and suddenly came out to blame me for this trouble somebody else was causing, and said he was calling the police. I said, well, I'm glad I asked you to call the police in the first place. And so that's the only reason I'm still here. And I don't know how they offer equivalent services to get my eyes tested. Do they do that in the car park, or do they do it online? Or picking up my pharmaceutical products. I don't know how they do that. They do eye exams here. How can they offer me an eye exam from online? They do that here. I'm actually due for a look this. I mean, I got my eyes tested 2 years ago. I'm due for
Okay, for the record, they are still sanitizing cart handles.
I think they've just started doing that since we got here.
Oh.
Because I haven't been watching, they haven't been doing that.
The angry Albertan and friends gets results. Boy, Andrew Knack, if you defund the police anymore, they won't show up for anything. Oh, yeah, heaven forbid anybody has a real emergency these days. I mean... Well, and now the hospital's saying that they can just decide whether or not you need urgent treatment or not, and if it's non-urgent and you won't wear a mask, they're just going to send you home.
And I have no idea how David, who does need blood work for diabetes,
Right.
Bobby for me to share his medical saga online, but it's important for everybody to know he needs blood work for diabetes, and right now, based on the NHS's protocols, including masks and shields,
It's not urgent.
no, it's not urgent. He won't be.
Just like Jerry Dunham's heart surgery was not urgent, non-essential. Would have been a lot easier just to let him buy his toilet paper.
But then he would have just harassed the next disabled person.
Well, this whole policy is just...
Bullying in the UK is actually a criminal offence, and not what I saw today was bullying. If it was in England, he'd be arrested for that behaviour.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, right after Remembrance Day, no less. People fought and died for freedom.
See, my colleagues are rushing to the scene.
Have they even been called?
I don't know. Maybe that was just another empty threat from Costco.
Oh, put your mask on, I guess. Hey, good thing you have one. I guess you're super safe.
Well, I don't know. I need to lie down. I'd go see a doctor, but I can't because AHS stops me going and seeing a doctor.
Should we ask for
Actually, the doctor...
a chair while we're waiting? Do they provide
he
us
called
with a
the
chair?
police?
He is a disabled person.
Has he called the police? Where did my
Well, if he has called the police, are we obligated to stick around until they show up, or?
I'll go back to the police now.
It'd be nice to have an interview with them. I would like to go to the office.
Well, yeah, last time I called it.
I'm glad you were here to document that because that would, you know what, people need to see this behaviour. This is a disgrace.
Well, and we keep talking about your disabilities, David, but the reality is that you are the perfect test case for all this. I mean, you, yeah, I mean, like it's you fit every measure of disability, and the reality is the way the bylaw is written, you don't even need to be disabled to be exempt from wearing a mask. All you need is a concern. And if you listen to what Chris Schaefer had to say about masks and respirators and whatnot, you should be concerned and you should be exempt. But here we're lucky enough to have David on our side, and David checks all the boxes for being legitimately disabled. He's got the note in his pocket. He's got the medical history to prove it. They've denied him his human rights today. There will be a complaint filed. Whether or not the Alberta Human Rights Commission does its job remains to be seen, because I haven't been impressed with what they've been putting out recently. But here we have a legitimate case of discrimination that should still meet the Human Rights Commission's modified standards. So this could potentially cost Costco a lot of money here, all because they didn't want David buying his allotment of toilet paper today. So in Canada, we don't have bread lines, we have toilet paper lines. Your ration. Yeah.
When do I get a ration book which tells me how much toilet paper I can buy?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think we should just call this Canuckistan. Welcome to Canuckistan. Canada, as we knew it, is done. As long as the people continue to tolerate this behavior.
Actually, check out the Vanguard Group and what was that other? BlackRock. The two biggest shareholders from Costco. And do a search for Vanguard Group and $21 billion. And see what they did with that $21 billion. The two biggest shareholders of Costco. What they did with that in October. See what Vanguard Group did with their main headquarters in Hong Kong back in August. They moved it to China. Is that what this is really about? Has Costco sold out to China? Is that really what this is about? Because up until this point, they've never, I mean, this complete and utter U-turn on the discrimination of disabled people. There's no other explanation for it. It makes no sense. Because it's not like they're actually bringing in an option that is safe. Alberta Health and the city's own documentation says these face shields are useless. So, but Costco sells them in packs of 10. So make sure once you've got used to you wearing the free one, my God, they're like drug dealers. I remember they used to do this with the police and drug dealers. Hang out outside, give the first one free, and then once you're hooked, you just keep coming back and buying them. My God, when did Costco turn into drug dealers for plastic masks? It's a disgrace.
Well, yeah, obviously, I mean, the manager was hyperventilating pretty badly when he was supposedly calling the police. I don't know if he used the right keywords, though, to get the police to show up quickly. I mean...
I don't know, was he calling the police on the other guy who went in without a mask? Because I haven't actually done anything yet.
Other than be a human being.
I'm also curious that the manager's actually on the door admitting people into the store today. So clearly they were aware this was going to be a very contentious issue today. Normally there isn't a manager on the store, on the door there, when you enter the store.
Right.
And there it is.
used to
There's
have
two of them out here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a minimum wage person normally. Now they've got managers ready to bully disabled people.
Well, and
That's what it is, bullying.
And I've heard that they've got all sorts of monitors throughout the store that will give you flack if your mask slips down below your nose, or if you flip your face shield up, or so basically this is your little taste of the, basically the new Soviet Canadian era, where you're going to have brown shirts and Gestapo and SS agents. It's bad enough we got our neighbors ratting us out.
I've been coming for 30 years. I love shopping at Costco. Why did you pull your mask down to shout at me?
Yeah, now
Like
your
you
hand
said
is
people are.
contaminated, ma'am.
She actually pulled her mask down and stood.
And spoke moistly.
And no, but it's like, if I catch COVID, it's either that manager or that woman. I hope you got her face. If I die of COVID, you go after her.
Oh, this is what...
Literally pulled down her mask, contaminating the mask, and also then screaming at me, which I thought was an offence. Well, and thank God she didn't sing at me.
Yeah, singing or laughter.
But she came over to this side here to pull her mask down and shout at me less than 6 feet away. Why did she do that? Why? This is like the Milgram experiment.
I did.
Please
I actually
continue.
had a few months back. I had somebody when I was in Costco unattacked, where you could walk in with your exemption, the Costco on it. I was walking through the main aisle, and somebody actually pulled their mask down to sneeze in front of me, and then put it back on. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm hoping that Costco are dealing with these, people who are removing their masks to either talk, sneeze, or do anything else that is going to cause people a risk.
Well, I mean, they told us at the beginning of this whole thing, don't bother with the masks. The public hasn't been trained how to use them. You're just going to contaminate everything around you. You're going to increase the rate of spread. We found, that even Dr. Hinshaw is on the live stream saying that, back when SARS was a thing, the masks were not a benefit. Fauci was saying it could be negative. But yet here we are. All of a sudden, the science gets completely flipped on its head.
Well, 85% of people who've been tested to have SARS, COVID, wore masks.
Right. And over 70% of those people said all the time.
Yeah. So,
all the time.
So it does back up the science that masks are increasing the spread, not reducing it. Which means that they're the ones putting me at risk. Not the...
Well, this culture just seems to worship the word science without actually understanding what it means. So it's more about virtue signaling.
Absolutely. The mask dispensary as well, that when I came yesterday, was actually in the store, is now in the foyer here as well.
Right.
Okay, I'm done.
All right.
Enough for my time.
So no bylaw, no
Bylaw.
police.
There are 2 complaints into Bylaw there. One about him approaching me and screaming at me with his mask on less than 6 feet away. So obviously he doesn't care about my safety. He's not interested at all in my safety. He also doesn't seem to be concerned about his own safety, because doesn't my mask protect him and his mask protect me? But he was quite happy to jump in front of me when I wasn't wearing a mask. He clearly wasn't wearing a mask. I almost ran him over if he'd have jumped any closer to me. Driving the electric cart, because I can't walk around Costco. It's too big.
Yeah. David actually does walk with a cane. So anybody who thinks that, David is the perfect candidate to test this store's policy, because he meets all the requirements.
As I say, I didn't do it deliberately. You can blame AHS for one of the injuries. Don't go near the ventilator, for God's sake.
But this is how society's treating people with legitimate disabilities. I just can't believe, that this is this is a shame. I mean, Canadians should be ashamed of what's happening today. At that city council meeting, we heard from a rape victim who was, her face was forcefully covered during the rape, and so that anything on her face re-triggers those memories for her. And she had the cojones to speak up about it to a city council meeting that was live broadcast on the internet. And the other thing that she mentioned that people wouldn't even think of is that for her as a rape victim, simply being surrounded by men in masks terrifies her.
Can you imagine if he'd have jumped out in front of her?
Right.
Like, as the way he did to me. If he'd have jumped out in front of her. I mean, it's a good job we don't have open carry. She'd have probably shot him in the panic that would have been caused. But the reality is, she's more likely to have fallen back and injured herself and got traumatised and maybe even ended up like Paulina, currently in hospital because of a fall, because of a mask. Because nobody up until this year has ever been required to wear face masks and face coverings and face shields unless they have been certified fit to do so. And yet people are putting these things on. Even doctors and nurses are not following basic health protocols that are drilled into them from years of training. They wear the same mask for hour after hour after hour. They're told to actually save them and wear them the next day. And it's like everything about their training. If you ever went into a doctor's office or a hospital, the nurse would come in. If she had to wear a mask for any reason, she'd put it on for the time she was there, along with a set of gloves. When she left you, she would take the mask off and the gloves off. And if she came back, she'd put another pair on so that there was no cross-contamination at all. Now, they're just breathing bacteria and viruses into these things, touching them, getting infections, and here we are in flu season, or shall we say COVID season, because apparently flu's gone.
I am extremely concerned about victims of abuse. When we go back to the story of
And children.
The children don't even get me started. You look at the situation with a rape victim, and effectively what you're doing is, it's a second violation. You are literally compiling abuse upon abuse. So I'm speaking to all women right now. If you've been in a situation where, and we know the percentage of women that find themselves in this situation is, half of it goes unreported. There are women who take these stories to their grave. And here we are with an Edmonton City Council mass extension meeting where a rape victim had to come forward and in 5 minutes, in the general public, in a public forum, had to tell her story to try and get the message across to people about what wearing masks like this did to her. How much is it going to take before people decide that enough is enough? So please, I'm begging you, women in this situation right now, we need to speak out. How many, we had a movement for women where they spoke out.
In a mask.
Where are you
I've
now?
arrested people for less than that. That's a disgrace. That's child abuse.
4-year-old. Well, and think about, remember what happened when Justice Kavanaugh was appointed? And all of these women who happened to be at a party with Justice, and all these people who are wearing masks right now said, oh, that Justice Kavanaugh, he's a rapist. We're going to, respect for women was the most important topic of the day.
Where's the Me Too movement right now?
Yeah, where is the Me
Where
Too
is
movement
Me
right
Too?
now?
Where you challenged women, you supported women in crisis. We had one on the line to Edmonton City Council. Where were you for her?
It's crazy. Totally crazy. I highly doubt the police are even going to show up. They'll show up
Which again, proves the point right now. Where are they? Where is Bylaw and where is the police?
Where's Andrew Knack? Andrew Knack is a disgrace. Andrew Knack said that he told me on the phone, you have any problems with businesses, you call 311. It's going to get forwarded to the COVID task force and they will have Bylaw reach out to the business. And 311 had no clue. No clue.
No idea. No idea what. She didn't even know what was in the bylaw. She had to go find it and read it. It's 2 pages, and it's probably the most significant bylaw the city's ever passed. It gets talked about 1 billion times a day. Sorry, exaggerate. I'm getting used to exaggerating numbers because of the COVID stats. This is insane, and You know what? If masks made a difference, then fine. But you still have to have an accommodation for disabled people. How many people, are disabled people's lives not important? But if masks are working, how come in every single statistic, in every single country, every time we implement masks at a high level like we do, cases go through the roof? If they're really working, then how in the hell are they working? Because we didn't have these numbers before, but as soon as the mask mandate gets put in, guess what's going to happen? I'll guarantee you this week, case numbers go up.
Oh, yeah.
Costco's done this.
Yeah.
Directly related. And is it directly related? Who knows? But I'll guarantee you case numbers are going to go up. And you know what? It's not people like me, disabled people, because we're not catching this virus. Everybody who's catching it seems to be the ones getting the masks. Maybe they are the ones that should be told you can't come into the store. You're the ones spreading the virus. How would you feel if we made you the disabled class and refused you entry to the store because you were wearing a mask? Because you're the biggest risk to me and everybody else. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should actually say no more masked people should be circulating in society because they're the ones spreading it and they're too dangerous. Let's stop this right now and just let the healthy people wander around. Maybe we'll deliver you food for you.
Well, the reality is that COVID numbers are going to continue to rise over the next several weeks because this is flu season and flu doesn't exist anymore, according to Dr. Hinshaw. So
colds don't exist either.
We're going to see hundreds of thousands of cases in Alberta here in the next 2-3 months. Yep. No matter what we do. You could all sit in your living rooms, never leave the house, wear masks if you ever do leave the house. I mean, it makes no difference. We are going to see hundreds of thousands of COVID-19 cases over the next couple of months. That's happening no matter what restrictions they put on us, short of throwing us all into a ditch. That might lower some cases. Maybe a nuclear explosion might lower COVID cases. But short of those things...
If Costco doesn't shift all these face shields, maybe China might do that.
Yeah, I saw a thing that said Costco actually stood for China Offshore Trading Company. I don't know if that's true.
No. This used to be a good Canadian company. Started originally out of Quebec, a bit like Rona, the precursor to Rona. Ironically named.
Right.
There was a lot of good things, despite what people say, that came out of Quebec. But they're not the same place now anymore.
We love Costco.
That's French, so.
Yeah, it was a hard decision to cancel our membership. I mean, our family's been shopping here.
My membership. I still have a contract, and I want to still shop here, despite the abuse that I've been given. Because I want to see Costco do the right thing and go back to what they were doing last week.
Amen.
And treating people with respect.
Treating people as humans.
Yeah, and treat disabled people with respect. So the CEO of Costco, if you're watching this, I hope your legal team gets involved in this. Do the right thing. Go back to where you were last week. Because COVID didn't change this week. There wasn't suddenly a memo that came out from the COVID team saying, oh, Costco, you better put face shields on. And the stuff that you're actually forcing disabled people to wear doesn't work anyway for any sort of virus. It's just a scam. It's just so you can shift some product. Bylaw now are investigating you, Costco, for basically trying to put stuff on people. If somebody says I can't wear a mask and they're not medically exempt, so they're not really exempt under the bylaw, maybe not. But people who go in there who say, yeah, I'm not wearing a mask, I'll put a face shield on and I'm not exempt, I'd just rather wear a face shield. Well, guess what? Those people are breaking the bylaw if they're truly not exempt. Costco cannot use a face shield instead of a mask for those that are not exempt. The city bylaw says so, and the provincial health act says so. So why are they really doing these face shields? Because they sell them by the box load inside. That's what it's really about. It's not about your health and safety. If it was, they'd be cleaning their tills between every customer. I mean, you're more likely to catch.
Well, they closed the Leduc coffee shop. Yet you and I have spotted several things just in their foyer that were more troublesome than anything we saw at the Leduc coffee shop. So
Oh,
here they deliberately go after small businesses and basically let these big box operations just do whatever the hell they want, including discriminate against the disabled.
And have there been any cases from these small stores? No. Have there been any cases from the big box stores like Home Depot and
Yeah,
Lowe's?
every one of them.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
So where do you say, who's looking after your health?
Oh, yeah, and you see these little shops close. You know, like there's a couple of restaurants down on White Avenue that had a case or two, and they shut them down for deep cleaning. You know, they're closed for probably at least a week, maybe two. You know, Costco gets a case, or Lowe's or Home Depot gets a case.
Nothing.
Yeah, they just fog the place at night, maybe they'll fog part of it, you know. But this isn't about your safety. This is all about just making sure that you're a good, compliant person who's going to do what they're told and not ask any questions. You know, and if you're willing to put on a face mask just to shop here, then you better get ready to get vaccinated just to shop here. And you know what? You want to take your kids shopping again, you better get your kids vaccinated too, or they're not going to be allowed in Costco either, because Costco's going to be, they're going to be checking your wrist for the chip, or you're going to have to produce a card or something. But, you know, if you're willing to wear a mask in here to go along, to get along, then you better be ready to get that voluntary, mandatory vaccination that without, you won't be able to shop, work, play, fly.
Well, you won't be able to leave your house anyway if you don't get vaccinated, because of the little clause since 2002 in the Provincial Health Act that they've had hidden waiting to jump on us. You will be treated, if you don't get vaccinated, you will be treated as if you have COVID. Well, what do they do to you if they think you have COVID? They isolate you till they think you don't have COVID. So guess what? Prepare to spend the rest of your life in isolation unless something changes. But don't worry, we're not going to get there. Wait, do you think society is going to still be working when they announce 40,000 cases because of runny noses and flus?
They're going to be, it'll be 40,000 cases in a day in the height of flu season.
So
in Alberta.
We in the last week, we went from 600 and odd a week last Friday, and then without actually giving any time for the changes they made to have effect, 6 days later, we had 800 cases, so now you shut everything down. And then the following day, 1,026 cases. Oh, I wonder what Dina Hinshaw is going to say about how naughty we've been over the weekend. And the 3,000-4,000 cases that there'll have been. She won't tell us how many of them are symptomatic, how many of them are close contacts. I mean, at the end of the day, Kenny and her considered close contacts because Kenny's had to isolate himself.
This is his third isolation.
And he had to isolate himself, and he was a close contact with Dina Hinshaw.
And they're supposedly following all the protocols.
I mean, naughty or nice for Christmas takes on a whole new significance.
Oh, yeah. If there is even a Christmas this year. I mean, only with your cohort. Well, I think my filming fingers are getting cold.
Yep.
All right.
Let's have the coffee.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you all for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Please share the video, give it a like, subscribe to the Angry Albertan page if you haven't done that already. I've invited so many people, and I see that you've been invited. Nobody clicks the like or the follow button, so please do that. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day.